Hi, I'm Tamara and welcome to the Energy Tune-In. You've probably heard before that if you change your thoughts, you can change your life. This week we'll dive into how that works and how to make it work in your life. You may or may not be aware of this, but 90% of our thoughts are the same as the day before. On top of that, only about 5% of our thoughts are conscious. That means that the rest of them, 95%, are subconscious. If you believe that your thoughts have anything to do with your future, you might begin to see that this is something that we should be paying a lot more attention to in our life. So, how you think is how you end up acting or behaving, which leads to the same experiences that you have, which causes the same emotional response in your body. Our brains are hardwired. On a biological level, the same thoughts means our neurons in the brain are firing in the same way, creating the same pathways, producing the same chemistry, which then produces the same hormones. And through the study of epigenetics today, we know that that creates a certain environment in our body where certain genes either get turned on or off. So they literally express in a different way based on the environment that we have in our body. So if you wake up in the morning and you pick up where you left off yesterday in your thoughts, you immediately begin to start having the same feelings. You can say that you are living your now based on yesterday's memory or an experience that you had in the past. The stronger the emotional reaction that we had to an experience in our past, the deeper the neurological grooves, and the more we get stuck in the circuit of a thought that creates an emotion, that creates another thought, that creates another emotion. It's a loop. Now, thoughts alone don't necessarily change the chemistry of our body. This is because we are actually very conditioned in our body's reaction by our past. And also because remember that 95% of our thoughts are actually totally subconscious. So we can think all the positive thoughts that we want, but if our thoughts say one thing, but our body is conditioned differently, or in other words, there is resistance in our body to the thoughts that we're having so that the emotion in our body stays the same as before, no change can really take place. So in order to break the habit of our own mind, it's not enough that we change our thoughts. We need to teach our body how to feel new emotions about what we're thinking, in this case about the future that we're calling in. So now you might be thinking, well, I can't have new emotions or feel any better about something that hasn't happened to me yet. So I guess I'm stuck. And that's what most of us were taught growing up. Well, I have some really good news for you. You don't actually need to wait for an experience to come into your life to do that. In fact, brain scans show us that when we close our eyes and imagine a certain experience and feeling a certain emotion, your body doesn't actually know the difference between an experience that is created by thought alone and something that you're actually experiences in the real 3D life. Your body believes that it's happening and literally creates the same biological response. This is, by the way, one way that we can cure phobias, by the way of teaching people to have new emotional response by imagining something in a safe and a controlled environment. So the same is also true for experiences that you don't want to have. Like when we remember an experience in the past or imagine a future that we don't want to live. Our body is reacting to those thoughts as if they are happening to us in the present moment, unless we learn to change our emotional response, causing a biological response that's different, that gets us unstuck from that loop, right? The loop of like our brains firing neurons and as a response producing hormones that activate the body system. So, to create new ways of being, we need to rewire our brain and recondition our body to a new state of being. And like we discussed, we don't need to wait for those experiences to come to us in manifest. We can start creating these states inside of ourselves through imagination and visualization and meditation. So the more we become familiar with a state of being, like in meditation, that's, by the way, what meditation means, to become familiar, the more likely we are to have the same conditioned response with our eyes open. So we need to teach our body what our future feels like before it happens. So far, this should feel pretty straightforward, and there's nothing here that should be really bending our mind too much. It's all pretty science stuff. But here's where Thoughts Create Reality gets a little more interesting, because now we're getting a little bit into quantum physics. So while we don't have the ability yet, we as society, to measure the energy frequency of thoughts that they emit, there's a growing school of thought, and I invite you to do your own research here because there's so much to learn, that believes that the thoughts that we think and the feelings that we emote have an electrical charge in the quantum field. How we think and feel broadcasts an electrical charge in the field that draws certain experiences that are a vibrational match to us. It's kind of like dialing a radio to a certain frequency to receive what it's broadcasting on that station. So when we change the energy, our energy and frequency, we can draw new experiences to us. This is really how we create our own reality, by changing the thoughts and emotions, which in turn change our frequency and allow new experiences to come into our life. In the quantum field, there is an unlimited potential for what we can experience in our life, and I believe that we can select from those potentials once we understand how to work with this. If you're tempted to think that this couldn't possibly be real because science can't measure it yet or prove it, I invite you to also remember that we used to think that the earth is flat and that the earth is the center of the universe and that the sun revolves around us, and that it's okay to not wash our hands between surgeries because we didn't really know about germs. So just keep an open mind here is all I'm saying. So what can you do as soon as today to help you shift your being so you can create the life that you want? Number one is to start becoming more aware of the thoughts that you're thinking and begin disrupting your own patterns. Just because you have a thought doesn't mean that it's true or that it needs to be true in your life. You literally can and should, I would say, start choosing new thoughts that serve you better as soon as today. Number two is becoming aware of your subconscious thoughts. So remember that like 95% of our thoughts, right, are subconscious. And you do this by learning how to work with your emotional triggers. And I have a video for this, by the way, titled How to Heal Yourself by Understanding Your Triggers. By healing your trauma, by doing shadow work and inner child healing and so on. I encourage you to work with a coach or a mentor to help you with this if it's totally new to you. Number three is to practice mindfulness meditation daily to become better at observing your own thoughts. It's really helpful. Number four is spend time visioning and visualizing your future and feeling the emotion as if they're happening to you right now. This will begin to teach your body a new state of being and change your electromagnetic field when it's done correctly, so you can begin drawing the vision to you. Number five is, this is obviously a short video on the subject, so if you want to learn more, I really encourage you to do that. And my favorite teacher on this stuff is Dr. Joe Dispenza. This video is based on his incredible work in this field that I've been studying and loving. And there's just so much more to talk about on this subject. So please look up his work. He's written books and TV series and so much more. That's it for today. Thank you for tuning to the Energy Tune In. I hope this was helpful for you. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe and hit the little bell so that you get notified whenever I upload a new video. Also, let me know in the comments if you have any questions and if you want to share how you're disrupting your own habits of being yourself and your mind, because that helps others too. Thanks again for being here and for being willing to expand your mind and your consciousness. Much love and have a good week.